So August 26th, 2024. Oh my. Isn't that buckwheat cover up going into flower a beautiful thing? And look at these potatoes. Look at the color on those. Look at the vigor. These plants are really happy. I really wish I could have done some plant sap testing this year, but I just didn't have it in the budget. And then the plant sap sample that was supposed to come went to the wrong place. So then it came in too late to be able to compare the two different ones there. And I just didn't feel it was worth all the expense and cost and hassle of shipping. And honestly, at that point, I was pretty burned out. I've been through probably 10 different problems with shipping. I couldn't get anything shipped to me at all, even computer memory, directly from Corsair. So I just kind of lost my will to get anything shipped to me or ship anything else anywhere else, especially when it's so expensive. It's like $100 and some just to ship the plant sap test to the lab in a way that gets it there in still plant sap form. Anyway, that's enough about that. Things are growing really well. It's a beautiful day. We had some nice sun today. We got some sun and sprinkles on and off yesterday. We got a little bit of rain overnight last night, but I don't know if we got any up here. If we did, it wasn't very much. But I just thought I would take a stroll through, and I'm actually going to see if there are any tomatoes here that are ripe or close to ripe, and if there are, I'll pull some, just because, in part because I want to try some myself, some of these aromas, and in part because I want to share some with some people, if I can get the time to go take them to those people. So I do just see a little bit of red peeking out here. So I think that's got some blossom end rot on it. Maybe this one. Man, wedged right into the soil from the weight of the plant. I don't even know if I can get that out of there with one hand. Yeah, they're pretty sad here. I don't know. Just hard to do without proper staking. But here's some coming on. They're ripening. I mean, they're not in the best shape, but yeah, they're not in great shape at all. Let's be real. Let's be real. Here's a few aromas that look like they've been chewed on too. Yeah, I don't know. Just not a great season for tomatoes without being able to get in here and stake and really give them the care and the mulch and the cover that they need. We'll see what else comes out. And I think the better side of the crop this year is going to be the potatoes. And that's okay, because I think that's going to be a beautiful crop, and I think we're going to get a pretty good yield out of it. And either way, I managed to get something in the ground and planted first season out. I actually contacted the property owner on the 22nd of February, and despite all the struggles and job loss and everything else I went through this year, I still managed to get out here and get a first crop in. This is about 10,000 square foot where the potatoes are here, so that's overall a success for the season, I guess I would say. I was much more ambitious, wanted to get a lot further, but boy did I hit a lot of obstacles and dead ends this year. And that's okay. That's the nature of farming. That's especially the nature of starting a new farm and engineering new land. And it's okay too, because it'll let me fall back and really have a chance to assess this land better and make better use of it and do better planning and engineering to have even better success in the future. So at the end of the day, we're going to use it as a positive thing. As always, flip all negatives positive. Find a way to flip it positive. And that's just what we're going to do here. In the meantime, there are some plum tomatoes coming on here. If I get the pokeweed out of the way. It's not going to be a lot, but there's some. and some is encouraging. And it demonstrates what can be done here if they were staked correctly and mulched correctly and kept watered and properly fed. Can you just imagine if we could keep the deer off them, what this crop would look like? Well, just in case you can't, I'm going to take you to a flashback of other crops of tomatoes that I've grown so you can envision it. And just remember, this is old stuff. This is before my knowledge and skills were where they are today. So just imagine what's coming in the future. September 15th, 2017. The real reason I brought you out here was to show you what happens when you improve nutrition and don't back it up with even heavier duty infrastructure. I know the sun's kind of not in my favor on this shot, but if you look, you can see that I was unable to get out here and harvest all the fruit off because I've been, oh God, so overloaded, busy. And by the time I got out here and started harvesting, even this post, which by the way is 4-inch diameter maple, and it's set about 18 inches in the ground, basically couldn't hold the weight anymore from the fruit load that's on it. And you can see there are lots of ripe fruit, ripening fruit, and there are still more flowers coming on. And so it collapsed. And so one of tonight's projects, I went out and cut some braces out of more maple. Those are 12-foot long, same thing, 3 to 4 inch diameter. This one has not cracked in yet, but I know if I don't get all over it tonight or tomorrow, it will. And I'm a pretty strong person, and I gotta tell you, I can't even barely get this to budge. That's just one side, and it's just loaded with fruit. I finally did get my foliar feed potassium back in, and so I have been able to start foliar feeding again. Lost a lot of ground in not having the nutrition directly available to foliar feed when they needed it. But you can see by the new growth coming on here, new flowers setting, new fruit setting, no abortions of the fruit. So we'll carry on until frost here. 2017. Just wanted to do a very quick update. I know these plants aren't looking that great with the extended potassium deficiency. I am finally feeding them again, but you can't undo damage that's been done by a potassium deficiency, because basically the plant has pulled all the potassium out of the bottom leaves and pushed it up to the top leaves and fruit in an attempt to support the reproductive process. But I just want to show you that there's a massive fruit load on here this year. These are baby Romas. They're cranking. I went through and harvested a bunch of these off yesterday, and again today I have to go through and harvest again because there's more ripe. I took my mom about 30 pounds. And yeah, they're delicious, they're tasty. Yeah, I could go on all day about them. But I really just wanted to show, while we still had the light, the tremendous fruit load that is on these plants. And you know, every type of tomato here. These are the crimson beefsteaks. We had a little bit of uneven rain action this year. We had a dry spell and then we had rain again, so we're getting some splitting and cracking on some of them. But since that rain spell has let up and things have dried out again, we're starting to get some nice ones that aren't cracked. Definitely throws another vote in the direction of putting up a big high tunnel and being able to control the amount of irrigation they receive and temperature and all that kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, tons and tons and tons of ripening fruit on here. And I know maybe on the camera these don't look that big, but I have big hands, and you know, that's a massive tomato. That's, you know, 5.5 inches in diameter, I would guess. Same here. Every one of these crimson beefsteaks is pretty big. This is a small one here, and that's, you know, bigger than any regular tomato you get in the store for sure. These are delicious, by the way. I added a few of these to the last batch of salsa that I made, and it really perked up the tomato flavor nice. So I'll be doing that for the future batches as well. These are also some more Romas here. And I know it was starting to get dark last night when I finished patching up the collapsed infrastructure for the cherry tomatoes, so I'll just take you for a quick roll along them, and you can see that even though I did all that repair work, I still got a lot of work ahead of me, because I got to harvest all these and find a market for them. I'm already overloading my current markets on cherry tomatoes, so I'm going to have to add someone else who would like some. Maybe I'll contact the Culinary Institute. Anyway, just want to give a quick show of what happens when you get critical points of influence right and complete trace mineral and hormonal nutritional support, and when you realize what nutrient deficiencies are and you start to understand how to address them, what you can do with foliar feeds to address that. And so at the end of the season here, we're looking at 8-foot high tomato plants on the crimson beefsteak and the large cherry tomatoes. I've personally never seen 8-foot high tomato plants before, so I am very impressed by that. And these Romas, I think if they were given a little bit better support and a little bit better soil initially, I think these probably would be 4 or 5, well, they're 3.5 now, so I would think they would be 5, maybe even 6 feet tall. They're more of a determinate type variety, so they're shorter and they don't get quite as tall. They don't keep vining out like the others do. July 26th, 2018. So I'm getting ready to go out and do a foliar feed, and I just thought I would pick off a few of the really ripe tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, and wanted to share some with a friend of mine, and I was looking for a container to put them in, and I realized that they fit really well in the egg cartons. And so that gives you a pretty good idea also of the size of these tomatoes. These are the large cherry tomato variety, but some of these are really big. Oops. So they're fantastic, they're delicious, they're super sweet. I'm going to go share these with a close friend of mine. And I just want to say thank you to Advancing Eco-Agriculture. You'll notice that these tomatoes are sitting on top of a bunch of their products like Accelerate and Micropack and Sea Shield and Sea Stim. These sort of yields and results and the knowledge and information that I've gained would not have been possible without this company. So thanks to Advancing Eco-Agriculture. And I know with these, we're only getting started. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network. August 31st, 2018. Just wanted to take a little walk down the tomatoes here and show where things are at. Went through and did a heavy harvest earlier in the week. I do have to come through and harvest some more, and I have to pick off a few that have gone overripe here and there. But I want to point out that we're still continuing to put on flowers heavily and fill fruit at all different stages. These tomatoes have been in a heavy foliar feed program for the majority of the season. They were started in adequate trace mineral nutrition, good biology, the works. Both the cherry tomatoes and the beefsteak tomatoes are the second generation of seed in high nutrition, and so that has an epigenetic effect as well. Just want to point out how big some of these tomatoes are. I have a big hand, but that doesn't even do justice to it. I'll pull out my super antiquated BlackBerry phone as a size reference for you. I basically just use this phone for a clock, but that should give you an idea just how large that tomato actually is. And there are lots of those coming on here. And not only are there lots of those coming on here, but there's more of them coming on filling fruit. There's new ones setting, and there's new flowers setting up here. So these plants have enough nutritional support through the use of foliar feeds and also through good manures, good mulching, maintaining soil biology and moisture, to continue filling fruit, and while they're filling massive fruit like that, keep setting flowers and filling even more fruit. And in fact, I'll take you around to the other side. Here's another one that's ripening up very nicely. I'll take you around to the other side and show you how I actually have to reinforce the infrastructure here again, because they've outgrown it. And if I don't do something soon, even these posts, which are set about 1.5 feet in the ground each, with the heavy duty page fence, are still probably going to go over if we get a heavy gust of wind once these fruit fill up and get heavier. So I just kind of want to show what's possible through nutrition and through foliar feeding and through really facilitating good soil biology and making sure that adequate trace mineral nutrition is present in the soil and in the plants. And this, I believe, is only really the tip of the iceberg of what is actually possible. Every year I beef up my infrastructure and I beef up my soil and my foliar feed program, and every year my infrastructure cannot keep up with the plants. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go up higher and then use step ladders to harvest, or if I'm going to go over to a secondary trellis and then train back down. I think even after the next couple of years that probably won't be enough. So if anyone's got some good suggestions on how to build industrial grade infrastructure to support tomatoes that are out of hand, I'd love to hear your suggestions. Please comment down below. I guess we'll just take a quick look at the jalapenos as well while we're here, and maybe even take a look down at the hot cherry peppers. But these are just loaded with flowers, loaded with filling fruit. We have some fruit that are maturing on the bottom here. Where did I see those? There you go. In all different spots. And these plants are massive. These are 5 foot tall jalapenos. These are basically chest height. Here, I'll give you a shot. This is the top of the plant here. I'm 6 foot tall. That's at my neck, so that's 5. So 5 foot high jalapeno plant, loaded with peppers, loaded with flowers, and it shows absolutely no sign of stopping or slowing down at all. We'll take a look quick here at the hot cherry peppers. These plants are loaded with hot cherry peppers. Been waiting for my friend Aaron, who loves hot cherry peppers and wants to buy a bunch for pickling, to come up. He's supposed to come up this weekend, I think. Hopefully he'll actually have the time to do that, because there's a lot of cherry peppers on here. And these plants are just sprawled out, and as you can see, still setting more flowers and more fruit. They're just not letting up. Alright, I guess that's a pretty good tour of this kind of stuff. I'll leave you with the sunflower that's been through the same foliar feed program, and you can see how bright and intense those flowers are, and just how many flowers are on that plant. And it's also still setting new flowers. So, thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. There you go. Beautiful big beefsteaks. Oh, it smells fantastic in the car already. The car smells being driven out by beefsteak tomatoes. These are crimson beefsteaks for anyone who's interested in this strain or variety. Excellent, large, super tasty, and if you really drive your mineral nutrition correctly, they're not watery. So they make excellent tomato sandwiches and anything else you want to do where you don't want a plate of water with your tomato. Alright, that's it for now. You know, looking at different sections of soil and different soil profiles and types, especially across a piece of land that you've planted to a crop, be it a cover crop or a regular production crop, but you can really see the difference. You come up out of this section down here where the soil's a little bit nicer, a little less stone and rock underneath it. And you come up into here, and we actually see the results of how dry it is up in here. We can see these plants are really struggling for moisture, and they're not doing great. And that's just because of this rock ridge that's under here and all that rock. It drains too much, and there isn't a whole lot of humic and organic matter material in there. Interesting how tomatoes came through that a little bit nicer in the same area. But again, you can see that soil profile just changed right across this region in here. Just boom. Very distinctive shift in soil quality in a very small span of space. I'll step back on the other side here and let you see this from a different perspective. So here we are again, standing right at the middle of that rock ridge region. And as we look down this way, we can see the crop health and vigor, both the cover crop and the productive crop, increase pretty significantly. Pretty uniform growth down in there. And then as we come this way, we can see how much drier and slower things growing. And some of those potatoes didn't even establish in here, and that's probably because they didn't have adequate moisture to even get established. And then all of a sudden, as the soil quality picks up again, it blows right back up into nice, uniform, healthy green crops. I mean, it's a very distinctive difference right where this rock ridge is. Just really wanted to illustrate that well. And then we'll go in and take a look at some of these plants here. You can see these are quite vigorous. And you can see where I pulled a weed out here the other day. So I guess where that is where I'll dig in and we'll take a look at the tubers quick and just see where we're at. All right, that's that same spot where I pulled the weed out. I just dug away a little bit more soil, and we have a couple of nice tubers developing here, sticking out. And again, we can see how dry the soil is getting again. This is what happens when you start getting plant nutrient and health right, and you're unable to keep good cover over the soil to keep it moist. I'm sure it's not as bad down in these other sections where the soil is better, but you can see how fast you can go through moisture even when you're not using pesticides, herbicides, suppressing biology, all that kind of stuff. Even when you're doing regenerative practices, you go out and put a foliar feed down, you'd be amazed how much the growth speeds up and consequently the moisture usage. Now, you'll see this in the soil like this. It's not as pronounced because the soil profile has a lot more reserved moisture underneath, but you really see it in pots. If you grow plants in planters like we do in the lab, or even when I do stuff outside like turmeric and lemons and stuff like that, when I give them a foliar feed, within the next week, there's a dramatic increase in moisture uptake, and it requires a lot more watering and a lot more attention to watering so that they don't end up taking a stress as a result of an increase in nutrition. And now let's just take a look here again. Leaf size is such a great indicator of adequate iron content. And I just want to point out again, when I go through here in foliar feed, I'm spraying primarily the potatoes, right? Overspray falls onto the cover crop, but the primary targeted crop is the crop that we're growing here, the potatoes, just because I don't have a broadcast sprayer set up yet. But you can see this got in that main target zone, this buckwheat, and the leaf size on this is dramatically larger. In fact, we'll pluck a leaf off of it, and we'll go out here, and we'll look at a plant about the same height that's not in that target zone, and you can see that leaf size is almost double. It might even be more. And that's a big part of that is because of the iron, but it's in general because we're tuning the nutritional needs of the plants for better than what they were, and better than most farmers are able to do, because they just don't have the tools that I have available to me. Don't worry, that's coming soon to a farm near you. While we're here, I figure we'll just take a check-in on the buckwheat cover crop here for the big block. That's looking really nice. It's filled in nice. It's all flowered out. Varying degrees of soil health and productivity. But it's nice that it's flowering out. And it's nice that the pollinators are still out here trying to scavenge the last bits of nectar and pollen from it. And I call that a very successful primary cover crop. I don't know if I'll be able to get the machines running again in time to get back here and get a good overwinter cover crop down, which is kind of sad because that would be really ideal. I'd love to get back here and put down some winter rye and some Austrian winter pea at the very least. But we'll see how the season goes and how all the moving parts go, or the unmoving parts as it may be. So it's truly amazing what the deer and rabbits can do. I mean, I've rarely seen deer and rabbits attack tomato plants like this, but they really just are chewing the living crap out of them here. So, I mean, fortunately, these are those crimson beefsteaks that were supposed to be like the original crimson beefsteaks, but these are actually crimson cushion beefsteaks. I'll just show you one quick here. But I'm not really a fan of these. I mean, yeah, they're kind of cool looking shape-wise, but their flavor isn't great. And I am not impressed. Guess I'll just give you a quick shot of this row late season. Not because there's anything super interesting, except that the holy basil is going to seed on a massive scale, and I probably should take a bunch more of that back to dry with me. And I may do that. And then cherry tomatoes are coming on pretty nice all through here. And I guess I gotta go up here with a container that's appropriate for picking cherry tomatoes. You can see how much of this holy basil is going to seed, starting to fully dry and open. Well, that'll definitely reseed itself for next year here. I can almost guarantee it. And then you can see how much damage our turmeric has and has been taking ongoing all season from animals chewing on it. Every time it starts to shoot up, they get at it again. So I'm in the process of getting the grow labs cleaned out, and I probably will retrieve this fairly soon, get it back into a crate or a grow bag or something, and preserve it for next season, or maybe keep it in some sort of homeostasis in the lab. I don't know. There are some nice cherry tomatoes up in here, though. Not that one. Some stuff the animals haven't gotten to. Really got to get fencing in. If you remember earlier back in the season, I just hand sprinkled holy basil down these rows all through here. And I just want to point out how prolific it is just by being hand sprinkled through here. It's taken off like crazy, and it's already thrown flowers and developing seeds. And it really does make a nice cover crop. It's excellent for pollinators, and it's excellent for protecting soils and being a living, growing crop that supports all parts of the ecosystem. And it's super for human health. Look up holy basil, also known as Tulsi. Well, I have to say, that really is rewarding to see. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. No, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. Well, isn't that a beautiful view? Hey, you know the deal. You always reap what you sow. And you best keep your friends close and your farmers closer, especially this day and age. So I got a little bit of cherry wood from the farm today. I got a steak left over from this weekend, so I'm making some jerky with it. Man, does that smell good.